Well, hello and welcome everyone to another Tarot Chat with Jay. I'm so pleased to be here today doing an unboxing. It's Seasons of the Witch, Beltane. This is a rock pool deck. It is part of the series by Lorraine Anderson, Juliet Diaz, and Giada Rose. This trio has teamed up to do, they've taken on the Wheel of the Year. I've also collected Seasons of the Witch Yule, and they started with Seasons of the Witch Samhain. We'll talk a little more about those decks later, but right now I'm about to tear into this one like a honey badger. I've decided personally to collect 4 of the 8. I'm very interested in compass points, ley lines, the equinox, the solstice, when it's actually, we're coming up on springtime right now here in New England, and shortly I will be heading outside to celebrate Ostara, which is when the earth is at a solstice point. My family and I stand in the front yard and tilt because the axis of the whole planet does the same. So it's a way that we can sort of give into gravity and participate in that. So basically I've got the Samhain to represent the fall season, Yule to represent the winter season, Beltane is taking me through the springtime vibe, and then I'm hoping to also collect a really hot midsummer harvest. And so let's look. BuzzBuzz. We have bees as one of our key features here. As usual, it's the 2-part sturdy deck. The full moon is on the inside. This one is gilded in gold. We have our spectacular guidebook with a bee on the back, which really is just, it's so clear that that's the symbol. What does the bee represent? I mean, flat on, before we're even into it, the bee represents flight, community, the hive. Bees don't move if they're too cold, so it represents the warming of the world. Oh, wow. Yeah, we've got the 4 bees on the back. In earlier decks, they were hands with twigs or hands with Christmas bows. So this is really reaching out into the world. And of course, bees dance. The bumble dance, they're able to communicate length, light, geography, magnetism, all by wagging their butts and taking a little patterning. I'm really excited about this. So, and of course, number 1, bee. In case there was, if you were looking for the sign, this is the sign. Bee, don't drink all of life from one flower, for there are many to taste and many to explore. I do want to say that the poetry line that is included here in the cards, in the first 2 boxes, the language was canted to thee, thou, thus, very turned around sentences, very poetic, but not entirely practical and not entirely right off the cuff. It was something maybe you had to spend a little time with. And actually, of these 2 decks, the keywords were ones that I really considered modifying and considered taking out a Sharpie and crossing out some of the words because they didn't resonate with me. But this is very direct language, to the point. Yes, like a little stinger. We have Bonfire with a beautiful just creature on flame. I really like this. It really harkens to some of the other images that are in the Yule, like with the Father Christmas and some of that gift giving and some of that hearth energy as well. Boundaries. This was one of the first cards that really sold me on this deck. I mean, obviously, I'm collecting, but aside from that, I was really happy with this card. Boundaries is something that I have been working on, and something that it shows just so clearly here. This beautiful bubble, this light. You don't have to be obnoxious about your boundaries. It doesn't have to be a sharp sword line cut in the sand or cut through your relationships, or like a spiky fence surrounding you. It can merely be a bubble of light, and this is my safety. This is my boundary. This is my line. This is what I'm choosing right now. Awesome. Chant. And then we're going to have a lot of beautiful buzzing movement and dance, and these cards encourage me to take form and engage in them. Cow, gorgeous. And I was also thinking it's beautiful to see this cow decked up, very midsummer vibe here as well, with the crown and the grasslands around. And I was very interested in how cow becomes sacred in the cold Norse regions and becomes sacred in the hot southern Indian subtropic, I don't think that's right, sub-equator. So it's the same line, north to south, that we see this cow energy traveling. We see it in, obviously in Egypt as well, with Hathor, the goddess energy. So I'm just sort of seeing a little triangle, seeing, beginning to explore the energy that the cow expanded on afield and afar. Creation. I saw this in a walkthrough. So this is a true unboxing for me. It's the first time I'm getting the decks in my hand, you know, under the light. But I did see a walkthrough from Foxes and Brown Bears, because they're Australian and they got the rock pool deck first. So I actually am not resonating very strongly with this. I'm glad to see it's not a pregnant empress, but pregnant tree, that creeps me out a little bit. Yeah, there's an oak tree druid sacrifice Roman punishment deal that involves trees that I don't know about this one. So it's good to have cards that are hard. It's good to have cards that you need to work on a little bit more. I'm very interested to read that one in the deck, and maybe that will give me, you know, a little more insight into what's going on with that. So Earth Worship, embodiment. This card is remarked on for showing an older person here, which is beautiful, but I also love it because everything's in motion, everything's in dance. It's got those gorgeous little mushrooms here at the bottom, that's the fly agaric red mushrooms that hearken to so many other images, both in the Salmon deck, shows up a little bit in Yule, and also shows up a great deal in Mystic Moments and Disney. Disney, my friends. Snow White, Bambi, that's the mushroom they draw. Disney. Ah, ha ha ha. And here we are again with our friends the Fae. And what are they dancing around? Our little agarics. So you'll see me take a slight flex that helps separate the guild, the golding. This is a really wild Fae depiction. Also, one that I'm really looking forward to doing a little deep dive on that one. I just love the, you know, the unstrungness of this imagery. Fertilizing. Not my fave. I think it's a little boring, a little pale. Fire Festival. Gorgeous. I love how she's depicted as light in dark. That's a little theme of mine. And Flower Crown. So let's look at Flower Crown with the cow. How fascinating. This deck, it seems to me, reads with itself so beautifully. I think it's also obviously the way she stands in front of the forest. This forest, woo-hoo-hoo, too many cards. So I'm going to talk about, thank you, Flower Crown and cow. Also Flower Crown, I see immediately she's standing in front of this tall or evergreen forest. I met this forest very, very specifically in the Yule cards. This is a background that carries from one deck to the next, which I absolutely adore. So I'm seeing, you know, the colorway, the crown, the imagery, that real feminine feel that's coming through. This deck is highly charged, highly sexual, highly engaging, highly talking about that, you know, let's go do it spring energy. And it's those pale greens with these deep pinks, washed salmon, pale red color that you're getting. It's that it's definitely carnelian. It's definitely garnet. It is garnet and gold. A little bit of that purple energy. And a heavy dose of a green and sort of almost a serpentine, a jade, an adventurine. Yeah, you all know I got one, so let's just try to fish that out. Not coming up. Woo! Not coming up, but we have a bloodstone to represent that green with red energy that I was going off on a little tangent about. Thank you. Let's go back and look at some more cards. I see goat, and I especially like this depiction of the moon within the horns. The moon within the horns is an image that we see not only in a lot of cards. We see stags with all sorts of moons kept within their horns. We see this as a extraordinarily old image of the goddess. If we go to Machu Picchu in the mountains in South America, or if we go to the island of Mycenae in Greece, in the Aegean Sea, we see thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, there are rocks that are carved with circles that sit, so a crescent within with the stone in it. And I think it's a way of seeing the extraordinarily fullness of the moon as it grows and is apparent in the sky, how it changes during the seasons in answer to the tilt of the axis of the earth, and how we long to embrace it and ascend to it as well. This shows a way to ascend. It's almost like a ladder to the moon, a way to climb, a way to not only praise, but also to come up, to rise up to that energy, rise up to that energy of Beltane. Thank you so much, everyone. I want to say thank you again to my new subscribers. Amazing. If you found interest in this work that we've been doing today here with the Seasons of the Witch, do feel free to like and subscribe. If you have anything you'd like to say about this deck, or anything that you're excited about for Beltane, please do leave comments. Have a wonderful witching day, everyone. Fire on. Thank you. It's been Jay.